So often we feel excluded when we come up against what our next speaker calls community bubbles, where we form groups or cliques that can alienate other people and make them feel like they're not part of whatever it is that's going on. So Helen, she said no last name, is on a mission to burst those bubbles, and she's here to tell us her story. So please welcome Helen.
Right. Hi everyone. I'm Helen. Good evening. Yay! I'm a real person. Right, so I'm Helen. As you can see, my surname is very long and very difficult to pronounce, so it's not a Madonna complex. I just found it easier to just go by Helen. So, what I am going to talk to you about, doesn't need a clicker because this is the only slide I have, so you know, stay self-blind at it. I'm going to talk to you a bit about bubbles. So the first thing I want to just distinguish is what is a bubble. And I went to the Oxford Dictionary because I love a cliche. So Oxford Dictionary defines a bubble as a thin sphere of liquid enclosing air or another gas. Great, that's not the bubble I'm talking about. They also have another kind of definition, which is, it is used to refer to a good or fortunate situation that is isolated from reality or unlikely to last. Let me repeat that. Used to refer to a good or fortunate situation that is isolated from reality or unlikely to last. And we humans, we tend to form bubbles. We form a community, and with the community comes the we, the us. And quickly comes the bubble, which is the them. And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about. So first off, I just want to say, you know, a little bit about, is a bubble bad? And I've kind of put down a few things of what I think a bubble is. So a bubble is very comfortable, right? It's what you know, it's the known. It's what you've always done, it's what everyone around you do. And it creates a sense of safety. That's not necessarily bad. A bubble is predictable. All right, if you're into, you know, knowing what's around the corner, that's pretty good. If you like to live life on the edge, you know, predictable might sound boring. A bubble is isolated. The nature of a bubble, if you look at one of these bubbles, you can see there is quite literally a sphere of isolation. The inside is isolated from the outside. Means that a bubble is limited and it's closed. Nothing can come through, nothing goes in and out. And a bubble distorts reality. For those of you who wear glasses like me, you'll be well aware that a filter that comes across you, similar to a bubble, like a convex, will change the way you see things. I promise you, you would not look nearly as pretty if I weren't wearing these. So, I want to give you some examples of bubbles that I've encountered, because we bring the bubbles with us, right? They're not static, they're not, they're not in a location, they're around us as individuals. And when we move out of our local community, we bring the bubble with us. And some of us move between bubbles. I like to call them the social chameleons, the ones that want to fit in and change their colour to fit into the bubble where they're in. So they'll have a different bubble for work, a different bubble for the gardening club, a different bubble with their family, a different bubble with their friends. And if you know what I mean when you know someone that you see with a different group for the first time and they act completely different, that's a bubble. And so just try and raise your hands. Who came here with someone tonight? Who's brought someone? Right, okay, about 20%, 30%, being generous there. And who came alone? Okay, yeah, okay, good. So who would never have come to this event alone? Who would not even have considered it? Oh, check you out! Not a single one. That's very good, guys. So, one example of bubbles that I have already given is the work bubble. You'll have a bubble around your department. You know, oh, I work in credit control, sales don't like me. Or you go, oh, that person in HR is just a bitch. You know what I'm talking about. You end up with the people around you, you'll form these little bubbles within your company. And you do it outside of it. You'll do it with your sports team. You know, I support West Ham. And if I see someone from Arsenal, it's not going to be pretty. That's another bubble, guys. That's acceptable behaviour in that bubble. That's what everyone does. That's what's comfortable. It's a scary thought. So my last example of a bubble is Brexit. Who here was surprised at the result? Yeah. And that's really where the entire idea of me speaking about bubbles came from, was that bloody hell, I did not see that one coming. And I realised I've been living in a bubble in Brighton where people vote green, and we all, you know, do our bit for the environment. We all want everyone to be happy and to belong, which is fantastic, but there is an entire different world that I was isolated from, which brings me back to, that's a bubble. I was isolated from these views. I knew they existed, I didn't really believe in them. I didn't really think they were there. So, how do you burst a bubble? Now, this is really tricky, I'm not going to lie to you, and it's really going to take something. So in my example with Brexit, that's kind of a bubble that was burst for you. For a lot of people, that's surprised. Waking up on the 24th of June, whoa, not comfortable, not great, really, you know, a wake-up call. And so I think that I want to go back to Oxford dictionaries, because I love a definition, which actually has one to burst someone's bubble, and it's defined as to shatter someone's illusion about something or destroy their sense of well-being. That's pretty hard-hitting, and that is very much how I felt, I'm not going to lie. For those of you who don't know, I am a European citizen, I'm from Denmark, hence the funky surname. Yeah, so shatter someone's illusion about something or destroy their sense of well-being. And that doesn't sound very comfortable. It doesn't sound great, does it? But the thing you need to remember is, if you don't burst your bubble, you know, if you're not willing to sacrifice your sense of well-being, your sense of this is how it is, I know the world, you will live in isolation. And sometimes you're going to wake up and Britain is leaving Europe. And another example I wanted to bring up is actually quite a personal one. I wrote this one down today and I had all the best intentions, and I was like, yay, I'm going to be the bubble bursting master tonight. I am really gonna smash it, right? So I was like, oh, you know, a way for me to be in my bubble if I went to speak to my friends. I'm quite lucky, I've got quite a few people that I recognise out there. Instead of going like, no, I'm not going to do that because that's my bubble, that's what's safe. I'm not going to speak to my friends because I haven't seen them for a while. I'm going to speak to my friends because I'm scared of you guys. And what did I do? I went to speak to all the people that I already know. So that's how powerful the bubble is. With the intention of going here to break that bubble, I've not managed yet. So in the break, I'm going to come stand over there by the water trough and talk to all you people. And I really encourage you all to do the same, because it is one of the best steps to burst your bubble. It's one of the things I've written down here. So you need to recognise your bubble, which can be kind of difficult if you're around people that you're always around, because they'll have the same filter, they're wearing the same glasses, guys. Whereas if you step outside of your bubble and you're alone, it becomes easier to see things because suddenly you're a little bit off kilter. And I find that helps a lot. It's also scary and it really takes a lot of bravery, so, really hat off to anyone who decides to take on the challenge and come speak to me, because I am terrifying. And finally, I just wanted to say my notes are completely off, which is fantastic. I just want to say community is not a bubble. All right, don't get the two confused. A community is a set is where anyone belongs. Someone new comes in, and everyone's excited. Wow, someone we have known, we didn't know, someone we haven't spoken to before. This is really good. The bubble is the, what are they wearing? It's a bit odd. I'm not sure about that. Well, they speak funny too. That's the bubble. And it's very easy to get sucked into, and it comes out of fear. So just be brave. I hope I've encouraged some of you to look at bubbles in a different way. Also, if you go to my Twitter, which is @andhelen, which is spelled @AND_Helen with an E at the end, because nothing's simple, I have pinned the tweet, which has a little video on it. I really encourage you guys to go have a look at, because it really illustrates how bubbles form really quickly, and if you go and you look through the bubble, outside the bubble, if you burst them, you realise we all have a lot in common because we're all people. Anyways, come talk to me later. Bye.